third set of dialogue distortions that I'm going to discuss are labels. So labels is a really tough one because on one hand, they're so useful. We can't get by life without labeling and naming things. Life is too big. There's too much stuff out there, too much stimulus. And when we can find a good name or a label for something, let's say you're really sick, you don't know what's going on and it's overwhelming you, but then you go to the doctor, they give you a name for what's going on. I can finally wrap my head around it. I know what to do, move on. And there's so many things in life, in our jobs, in our families, when we can find a way to name something, label it, it becomes actually a good thing. We can move forward with it. It enables thinking, it enables problem solving, etc. That's the good use of labels. But this is not about good uses of thinking, is it? This is when thinking goes bad. Labeling as a cognitive distortion and a dialogue distortion, they are really the turds. The turdiest turds that ever turded. They stop discussion right in its track. What they do is that they take these complex realities or complex people and reduce them down to a thing that can be dismissed. You know, this is a this. It's just a that. I don't have to think about that. Or I can judge it or lay some kind of social stigma on it. Labels can really really short circuit and create these bad shortcuts in our thinking that do a lot of damage. The worst labels in this case are insults. And we have plenty of curse words that are become these terrible labels, and they change over time. So, mid-century America, it was quite common to hear the N-word or the F word or the R word, these labels that we ascribe to marginalized groups, and just, casually toss them out. And that became a way to, just section that off and not have to think about them, or to, direct some sort of negative emotion towards them. We have moved on. We don't say those words in polite society. I think that's a good thing. But then, humans being humans, we just replace them. And there is a bucket of words that has come from a segment that I'm talking about that has basically replaced them and become the new, almost socially laundered curse words because they're so new. You know them. Woke, mob, cancel culture, SJW, CRT, vocal minority, PC police. It's every day. That's exactly what I have to do sometimes when I'm emerging from these conversations, just kind of shake it off. Why? What is exactly wrong with these buzzy words, as I like to call them? So every word has kind of a baked in, sense of meaning to it. And when it comes to those buzzy words, the baked in meaning is that the folks who want to see change, the folks who want to see the hobby change to have more representation in it, that we're trying to accomplish this thing by force. There's a fusion right in the middle of the understanding of all those words, that change is fused with force, and that any change we advocate for, we're willing and able and ready to use force to get it. And for me, that's the opposite of what I'm about here on Shelf Stories, or a lot of the folks who want representation in this hobby. We would like to see change, but I want to achieve change by persuasion. I want to try to get the win-win out there, try to put out the message that I want to broaden the hobby. I want more games, not less. I can't tell you how many times people who see my videos know I say these things over and over and over and over and over again. Why? Because I'm trying to overcome that baked-in understanding that is generated by the buzzy words primarily, that change equals force, which is complete nonsense. So then when someone comes in my comment section, my YouTube comment section, it's gotten better recently. When I was first beginning, it was a bit worse because I was kind of, moving through the comments, the commenters. Anyway, so I gave folks a couple of freebies. They put in a paragraph, and it was like woke and mob or like cancel culture was kind of dotted in there. And I was kind of able to judge that it was more of a sense of like they were angry, triggered, temporarily fear and anger overcame their reason. I was like, all right, let's just talk about this. Please, try to avoid those language. We could talk in another way. Calm down. Let's get together. And I've been able to do that. I've been able to, talk someone off the ledge, so to speak. And they go, I don't agree with you, but at least I know you're a good person. And I'd love to get to that point. When it's more than that, when it's like a couple of buzzy words in a row, woke mob SJW, or when it's a couple spread out over a couple of comments, because sometimes somebody come in MySpace and kind of go in multiple videos and make almost the same comment. Delete, block. I go that far. I have to go that far because, I'm not afraid of discussion, but what I'm getting, if someone is locked in that mindset that change equals force and that's what Jason is doing, that's the projection that's put on me, I can't talk to that. Person has free speech, they can go somewhere else and say it, but that is not something I want to entertain in my discussion space. It's basically someone walks into my house and goes, let's have a rational discussion, motherfucker. That's what the buzzy words do. They're basically just a hanging middle finger, especially the word woke. Woke, fuck. Woke, fuck. Whenever somebody says the word woke, I'm hearing them in my mind say the word fuck, and it just brings me down in terms of my desire to talk to this person. And I've had my middle finger up for almost a minute. Imagine someone who wants representation speaking to somebody who speaks in those terms. That is how we experience it. No wonder we're so fast sometimes on the block button. So I've described the process where I'm a little bit more open and friendly to people, and I try to engage them and get them around. That's because I'm small. I still, only a few hundred people, maybe a successful video, 1,000 or 2 can talk. That's not really that many people in the grand scheme of things. There are forums, and the big Facebook forums and some Reddit forums and BGG, a pretty famous one, that have taken more of a zero tolerance aspect towards the buzzy words. Example here would be the announcement that David Tercey made, a designer of Prison Architect, where he and his partner, Norley Lubers, announced they were withdrawing their support for the project, which eventually killed that Kickstarter. And you look at the forum and you see it. Removed. Maybe 25% of that discussion is left, and the rest of it was removed. So then it creates the impression from the outside, well, they don't want to talk. They are banning people left and right. They only want to create their echo chamber. I saw that conversation in real time. I was tracking it because it was interesting discussion for me. And every single removed post, every single one had a buzzy word attached to it. Woke or mob or cancel culture or whatever. And it's a good case study in why those labels are so difficult, which I'll get to with the next dialogue distortion.